Welcome back, guys. All right, so today we're going to continue to learn how to analyze nonfiction text. Not just read it, not just look at the words, not just be able to recite it back to me, but to delve deeper into it, to analyze what it actually is about, what the author is trying to do. And to do this, we're going to build a house. We're going to build a house. You can tell that I can't draw very well, but you get the point. All right, and the good thing about building this house is that 3 of the 4 major parts of this house, we have the skills. We've practiced the skills. We know how to do this. That's identify the main or the central idea. That's the roof. That's the thing that's covering the whole article. The whole article is about this, and that's what's covering. That statement should cover the entire article. All right, so you would just put the main idea of the article is, then you fill it out. What is that main idea? What is the main or the central idea of that article? But now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how, as the article progresses, that main idea is proven, or how it is proved that that is the main idea, or how it builds on that main idea, what it contributes. And so we're going to do that through the gist statements. We've practiced getting gist statements. Remember, we talked about putting brackets at each paragraph and then kind of a one-sentence summary. We're going to build on that. All right, we're going to look at subsections now. So what you're going to do is on the second floor of the house, on the second floor, you have your subsections. Now, you're not going to write sub 1, sub 2, sub 3, and sub 4 like I did. You're going to write the actual subheadings. And I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to do subsection 1 with you. But you're going to give me the gist. What was that subsection about? What was it talking about? All right? Give me the gist. That happens in your own words. Then, the text evidence, you're going to tell me what text evidence from there told you that that's what that subsection was about. So we've practiced main idea. We've practiced gist statements. We know how to do textual evidence. The new part is the how. And so what you're doing in this final floor is how does this section prove this? How does subsection 1 prove the main idea of the article? So that means you have to do a couple of things. It means you have to do a couple of things. There's multiple step process. Number 1, you have to read the article. You have to read the article. The only way you can get the main or the central idea is to read the article. Then 2, the gist statements for each subheading, each subsection. Get your gist statements. What is it about? Then find your text evidence. And number 4 is explaining. So think of it like you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer, right? And you're trying to prove that this crime was committed. The main idea is the crime. Main idea is the crime. And then your subsections are evidence, proof. You just have to explain what it is. This is a notebook. This notebook was at the scene of the crime. That's what the gist is. You're just telling me what it is. If I ask you for the gist of subsection 1, you're just telling me what subsection 1 was about. Then, your text evidence. That's just, this is a notebook. That's the gist. It was found at the scene of the crime. That's why it's important. That's how I know this notebook was important. So, your text evidence, what out of the article proves that that's important? And then the how. The how is the explaining. The how is the lawyering part. This proves this this proves this because X, Y, and Z. All right. And so, three-step process. You read the article, you find the main, the central idea, then you reread your subsections. Again, using the gist statements, the bracket notation, it helps. Find your text evidence, and then now is that new part, that new piece, that new analytical, next level, higher order thinking skill of explaining how over the course of this article, this main or this central idea has developed. All right? And so, what we're going to do, I'm going to read this to you. I'm going to read the first section to you. All right? If a candidate won't accept defeat, United States will survive as it has 5 out of the 6 times in the past. All right, and remember, there's 4 subsections, so that doesn't include the introduction to the article, which I'm going to read first. So make sure you're paying attention because I'm going to do subsection 1 with you, and then you will continue on with the rest. So, election results have sometimes been questioned in the United States. In fact, the country has a long history of contested elections. With one exception, they have not badly damaged the American political system. That contested election was in 1860 and sparked the Civil War. However, it happened in a unique situation. As a political scientist who studies elections, I believe should Donald Trump or former Vice President Joe Biden contest the results of the November election, American democracy will survive. All right, so now, subsection 1. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to do it right here so I can write it a little bit bigger. But you'll see in the article it says legitimacy is essential to a democracy. So in my little box, I would write that. All right, and then I underline it. And now I need to read that subsection. So, continuing on, legitimacy is essential. I just realized I spelled that. Is essential to a democracy. Most contested presidential elections have not posed threats to the legitimacy of government. Legitimacy, or the collective acknowledgement that government has a right to rule, is essential to a democracy. In a legitimate system, unpopular policies are largely accepted because citizens believe that government has the right to make them. For example, a citizen might despise taxes, but still admit that they are lawful. Illegitimate systems, which are not supported by citizens, can collapse or descend into revolution. In democracies, elections generate legitimacy because citizens contribute to the selection of leadership. In the past, contested elections have not badly damaged the fabric of democracy because the rules for handling such disputes exist and have been followed. While politicians and citizens alike have howled about the unfairness of loss, they accept these losses. All right, and so that first subsection, we got to figure out what that was about. All right. And so the first subsection discussed legitimacy in government and why it is important to democracy. So that's what we're going to put. Essentially, what that was about was it discussed that legitimacy is how citizens and politicians accept results. All right? So legitimacy is how citizens and politicians accept results. And citizens voting in democracy increases legitimacy. All right, so essentially, I explained or gave you the gist of what that entire subsection was about. It told you what legitimacy was. It explained it right here. Collective acknowledgement that government has a right to rule. And then said how legitimacy ties in to democracy. And because citizens have the right to vote in a democracy, it helps increase legitimacy within that government. And so my textual evidence is going to be, let's see, paragraph 4. Paragraph number 4, and so that's 5. Paragraph 4 and 5. Okay? So paragraphs 4 and 5. So you can do paragraph, you can do line number, whichever you prefer. But paragraphs 4 and 5 are my textual evidence. All right? And so I've read this entire article. I know that the main or the central idea is to the authors attempting to prove that the American government, the American democracy will be fine regardless if either candidate refuses to accept the results of the election on election night. So what I now have to do is that I know what the main idea was. I have to explain how this subsection of the article helps to prove that main or central idea. And so that's what that last box is. And so that would be, so we know the main idea of the article is that the United States democracy, as we know it, will be fine even if one of the candidates refuses to accept the results of the election. And so that is because, so discussing what legitimacy is and how it's essential to democracy proves the main idea. So in that last box, you would put this proves the main idea or the central idea because, and then your job is to explain how this goes with that. And so for this subsection, this proves that America will be fine because the democratic process creates a legitimate outcome. All right? This proves the main idea because the democratic process creates a legitimate outcome. And if that's the case, that proves the author's point that even if they contested the legitimacy of the U.S. government and the U.S. democracy, proves that everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to work out, even if they decide, one of them decides to contest the results on November 3rd. All right? So your job now is to do what I've done with subsections 2, 3, and 4 of the same article. All right? Subsections 2, 3, and 4 of the same article. So it is posted on Canvas. You have access to it. Make sure in your notebooks you're building the house in the same way and format. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and I'm glad to help you. And as always, have a great day.